If you're thinking about who could realistically replace Minkah Fitzpatrick, someone who could at least come close to matching his impact, it's hard not to have Justin Simmons cross your mind. Simmons is a free agent now, and while he's not exactly in the prime of his career anymore, his name keeps popping up in conversations about who might fill that void. Entering his 32nd year, Simmons might not be lighting up the stat sheet like he used to, but he's still got solid numbers under his belt. 2 interceptions this past season brought his career total to 32, which is nothing short of impressive. Add in 7 passes defended and 62 tackles, and you've got a veteran presence that knows how to get the job done. It's true that he missed out on the Pro Bowl for the first time in 6 years, and the All-Pro nod slipped away after 3 straight seasons, but that doesn't mean he's fallen off a cliff. There's still something to work with here. What makes Simmons' situation so intriguing is the fact that he has never played in a playoff game. Not once. Unlike other players who've never tasted a postseason victory, but at least suited up. In playoff matchups, Simmons has never even been on the field when the stakes were that high. He's one of those guys who talks openly and frequently about wanting to join a contender, not just to make the playoffs, but to actually win a Super Bowl. That kind of ambition isn't just talk, it's rooted in his own experience, or rather the lack of it when it comes to postseason success. So when he says he wants to find a team that's capable of going all the way, he has a pretty compelling case to back it up. According to Simmons and his agent, the reason he hasn't signed yet is precisely because he's waiting for the right opportunity, a chance to join a team with a real shot at a championship. He specifically mentioned the Eagles by name, along with a few other teams, though the Steelers weren't on that list. But that doesn't mean Pittsburgh is out of the running entirely. Sometimes these things unfold unexpectedly. Maybe Simmons sees something in the Steelers' situation that appeals to him. After all, Pittsburgh's roster has shifted recently, with several veteran players on one-year deals suggesting a team in transition. The hole left by Fitzpatrick is a significant one, and the idea of bringing in a player with Simmons' experience to fill it is tempting. Looking at the current Steelers roster, Juan Thornhill was brought in, but he's not exactly the answer at free safety. Thornhill's injury history and inconsistent availability have been major concerns. Even fans in Cleveland were eager to move on from him. The Steelers signed Thornhill for just 1 year at a very modest price, signaling he was meant more. As depth and a long-term solution, that raises another question. If Simmons was really on the Steelers' radar, why hasn't a deal been done yet? Has Pittsburgh's front office, including Omar Khan and the scouting team, looked at Simmons and said no thanks? It's tough to say for sure. Nobody outside the organization can know all the behind-the-scenes talks. But given the team's ambition, it's hard to believe they'll just stand pat at key positions like WR2 or free safety. The whole outlook for the Steelers has changed since Aaron Rodgers signed with the team. Rodgers' arrival raised expectations instantly. Now this team isn't just trying to rebuild or tread water, they want to compete for a championship right now. When you consider the number of one-year deals for older veterans, it shows the front office is aiming for immediate impact rather than long-term projects. So why would they leave critical positions like free safety or the second wide receiver spot to chance? They've got cap space, which will only increase once TJ Watt finalizes his contract. It doesn't make sense to save money for future seasons. If the goal is to win now, especially when they're looking to bring in a legitimate franchise quarterback soon, whether it's through the draft or other means, the reality is the Steelers may not have another late-night knock-at-the-door moment with a superstar like Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Waddle, or a top-tier tight end joining suddenly. Some players who were key contributors last season, Jalen Warren for example, or Cam Hayward at his peak, won't necessarily be around forever. That means the front office needs to be smart about the next wave of talent and not rely too heavily on hopes or past glories. The question isn't whether to sign Simmons on a blank check or not. It's about recognizing that Thornhill probably isn't the answer, and that taking a chance on a player with Simmons' experience and skill set, even at his age, could be the move that shifts the team's trajectory. At the same time, it's important to realize that none of these decisions happen in a vacuum. The Steelers' offensive line, for example, is still a work in progress. There are young players with high potential, but also a lot to prove. Guys like Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick have earned some trust, while others like Brick Broad still face skepticism. The development of these young players will have a direct impact on how well the offense functions overall. including how effectively a quarterback like Rodgers can perform. Chemistry, trust, and communication take time to build, especially with new coaches and new schemes being installed. So while the defense tries to plug holes and add veterans like Simmons, the offense is also figuring out how to gel and maximize its talent. When you break it down, the Steelers are at a crossroads. They have a veteran star in Rodgers, a hungry defense looking to fill gaps, and a roster dotted with both promising young players and experienced veterans on short-term deals. This mix creates urgency, a sense that this season must be different. That's why the free safety position is so critical. You can't just settle for good enough when the goal is a championship. It's a balancing act, though, because signing a veteran like Simmons isn't a guaranteed fix. And Thornhill, while not the answer, still provides some depth and experience. But if this is the year to take a calculated risk on a player who can potentially make an immediate impact, Simmons fits that mold. The Steelers front office has tough decisions ahead. They'll need to evaluate their cap space, their draft strategy, and their free agency moves with one clear focus: building a team that can compete at the highest level starting now. And that means no position gets overlooked, no potential. Upgrade dismissed without serious consideration. Simmons represents a veteran presence with championship aspirations of his own. A player who knows what it takes and is still capable of contributing at a high level. Whether or not he ends up in Pittsburgh remains to be seen, but his availability and skill set make him a prime candidate for teams looking to get over the playoff hump and chase that elusive Super Bowl ring. In the meantime, the Steelers are also navigating the development of their young players. The offensive line, for instance, faces a steep learning curve. Players like Broad have struggled with consistency and injuries, while Frazier has shown promise as a reliable center. The line's performance is crucial because it directly affects the quarterback's protection and the running game's success. Without a strong offensive line, even the best playmakers can struggle to perform. So while the defense looks to upgrade at free safety, the offense must also come together and build chemistry with the new schemes and personnel. All of these factors contribute to a complex but exciting off-season narrative for the Steelers. With Rodgers at the helm and an aggressive front office, the team is clearly gearing up for a run. Adding someone like Simmons could be a key piece in that puzzle, but it's just one part of a bigger picture that includes young talent development, smart cap management, and strategic acquisitions across the board. Looking deeper into the Steelers roster, the offensive line situation really highlights how challenging the rebuild and retooling process can be. Young players like Brick Broad and Mason McCormick are still finding their footing, and while there's clear potential, the path to consistent performance is never straightforward. Broad especially has faced a lot of skepticism from fans and analysts alike. He entered his second year with high expectations after a rookie season that left many hopeful, but injuries and inconsistent play have hampered his progress. Unlike Zach Frazier, who quickly established himself as one of the more reliable centers in the league, Broad's development has been uneven, leading some to question whether he can be the cornerstone of this line going forward. It's also worth mentioning Troy Fanuanu in this mix. Fanuanu represents an interesting case because on the surface, he looks like the kind of mature, accountable player any team would love to have. He's vocal, takes responsibility for his role, and exudes leadership qualities uncommon for someone his age. But even with those intangibles, the reality is he only played 55 snaps in one game last season before injury sidelined him. And that leaves a lot of unknowns about his durability and ability to sustain high-level play over a full campaign. The Steelers can't bank on him until he proves he can stay healthy and maintain that level of play for the entire season. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are stirring in the NFL world, and the latest buzz involves none other than Quenton Nelson, the legendary guard often dubbed the living wall on the gridiron. Rumor has it that Nelson might be leaving the Indianapolis Colts, sending shockwaves through the league and igniting fierce speculation among fans and analysts alike. The whispers suggest that the interior of the Colts' offensive line, the so-called black and gold fortress, could be facing a dramatic shakeup soon. Nelson, known for his brute strength, relentless drive, and almost impenetrable blocking. Skills has been the cornerstone of the Colts' offensive line for years. His presence has earned him a reputation as one of the best guards in the league, a player who can single-handedly change the dynamics of any defensive rush. But now, reports are surfacing that the Steelers might be on the verge of sealing a deal with his powerhouse lineman. The mere thought of Nelson donning the black and gold of Pittsburgh has sent waves of excitement and concern in equal measure. If this rumor turns out to be true, the implications are huge. The Colts would lose their wall, a player who has been instrumental in protecting their quarterback and opening lanes for their running game. The black and gold fortress in Indianapolis has been a symbol of strength and resilience, and losing Nelson could leave a gaping hole in the middle of their line. Meanwhile, the Steelers would gain a major boost, potentially transforming their offensive front into a nearly unstoppable force. Fans of both teams are buzzing on social media, speculating about what this move could mean. For the Colts faithful, it's a moment of anxiety mixed with disbelief. Can their line survive the departure of such a key figure? And for Steelers fans, the prospect of adding Nelson to their ranks brings renewed hope and excitement about their offensive prospects for the coming seasons. Of course, nothing is confirmed yet. Negotiations are still reportedly ongoing, and both teams remain tight-lipped about the potential trade or signing, but the energy around this story is palpable. The possibility of Quenton Nelson leaving the Colts and heading to Pittsburgh has captured the imagination of the football community, making it one of the hottest topics in the NFL rumor mill right now. As the offseason progresses, all eyes will be on Nelson and the front offices of both franchises. Will the living wall stand firm in Indy, or will he bring his fury and strength to the Steelers' interior line? The drama is far from over, and fans should stay tuned for what could be one of the most significant moves in the league. Yeah, that's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.